And that coffee was it seen as an icebreaker by you?
In fact, some of the comments made by Congress party spokesmen surprised me. And I don't want to comment on them.
But was there a sense of awkwardness or?
No, nothing of any kind. It was very, very cordial, both places. There was no problem
with
at
the
all.
Prime Minister especially?
Yes, Prime Minister especially, there is never any.
But you know, he's a sensitive man like you. And you've called him the weakest Prime Minister that this country has ever seen. And how does that reconcile with the social situation?
He may have felt hurt when I said that, but at least on that day, he was very warm, very effusive. And he said, I have already got a copy for myself, but I'm grateful that you've come.
Well, at this point, we will, with your permission, take a short break. After the break, somebody LK Advani in his book describes as his favorite person, his daughter Pratibha, whom many believe is the person closest to him, the person he listens to most. We'll ask her about her special relationship with her father. Much speculation that she will be in politics next. She's always denied that, but we'll get a chance to ask her that again. That's coming up after the break. Welcome back. We're in conversation with LK Advani about his much talked about book, My Country, My Life. And we're joined in this segment by his daughter, Pratibha Advani, whom everybody knows as the person closest to the man many say could be India's next Prime Minister. Let me start by asking you, Pratibha. You've really been spearheading the entire book launch, the events. In many ways, it was you and your mother who persuaded your father to write this book. Why did you think it was so important for him to write this, especially since he's still active in politics?
You know, every sometime when we are sitting together as a family, he recounts many incidents which are so interesting in the sense his childhood and his early days in the RSS, then the subsequent days in the Jansangh, and then the formation of the BJP. So it was in bits and pieces. So both mom and I thought that they were so interesting, and his days in jail, which we were away from him for 19 months. And we said they're so interesting, and I'm sure people in our generation and subsequent generations would be so happy to hear them just the way we were happy to hear them. So we really goaded him to write.
Advaniji, if Pratibha and Kamlaji had not put this pressure on you, do you think you would have actually written this book?
Maybe not. Maybe not. So you are right that if there had not been strong persuasion from these two,
you may not have written this book.
Maybe I may not have written.
But Pratibha, you are known to be very protective of your father, and you've also often described him as somebody who speaks his mind, and that's something he said earlier, that I don't act. Given the fact that the year before this book had been one of the most painful years for the family in terms of the Jinnah controversy, weren't you at least scared कि कुछ लिख देंगे, फिर कुछ हो जाएगा, फिर क्या करेंगे?
Not at all. I mean, in fact, as he said very rightly, there was no question of being scared. But yes, though that period was a sad period as for him, as for the family as well. But I was not scared in the least. I mean, I know his mind and I know how clear he is in his thinking. In fact, a lot of my journalist friends always tell me that his sound bites are the easiest to cut because they're so precise and crisp that he doesn't do one word here or one word there. So I had no issues with that. I had no feeling of being scared or anything like that.
Barkha, I may mention one more thing which I have not mentioned to anyone else. That this writing of the book formally did begin in 2007, beginning. But even in 2006, she had been speaking to me, मैंने कोई घटना इनको बताई, तो she said, ऐसा करो, you recall whatever you can of those days, particularly your days in Rajasthan, and then she would bring her photographer, this cameraman, and record it for me on
I did
TV.
that. I
Oh,
still
really?
have that 3-part series, which I haven't put it together.
Several such series, and which were utilized subsequently only for the book that way.
Was it a way of keeping record, or were you planning to maybe make a biography of
You
your
know,
own?
it started with my brother's 40th birthday. I had done a film on him for his 40th birthday, which we didn't tell him, and it was like
surprise.
a surprise for him. And for that, I wanted to take my father's sound bites, my mother's sound bites. So this exercise started with that, and of course, as he said, he recounted an incident. I said, hey, this is so interesting.
And did you say things in that you don't write in the book?
No, they
Were
are
you more
there.
honest
They are
within
there.
the
Listen,
family?
I'm not somebody who asks questions that makes the other person feel uncomfortable. So those are basically factual things.
Now, so much of the scrutiny in these weeks has also been on you. And I remember after the book launch in Delhi, you actually got a phone call saying, Pratibha, congratulations, that was a great speech. And I was standing next to you when you said, why are you congratulating me? I'm not Rahul Gandhi, this isn't a maiden speech. There's so much speculation in some ways that this is a kind of formal political inauguration in some ways for you.
I don't think so, Barkha. You know, I mean, I always look at it from the point of view of being a daughter, and I don't think any other daughter would do any different than what I'm doing for my father at the moment.
But politics is in your blood in a way.
It is. It is coming from him. Definitely, it's there in my blood. But that does not mean that I'm going to, I'm looking at a career for myself in politics. Firstly, I don't believe politics is a career, as he very rightly always quotes here and there, that nowadays, people getting into politics take it as a profession rather than a commitment. And I also strongly believe in that. You know, my commitment is to my television career. I'm happy with that.
As a father, would you like to see her step into politics? Do you believe her political acumen is oriented that way?
Unfortunately, today in India, dynasty has become an issue. Therefore, even when I see people or people try to tell me, persuade me that Pratibha should be in politics, should contest for this, for that, I am disinclined.
Only because of the dynasty tag?
Because it is an issue, and it is an issue in which we confront the principal party in the country. That's a major factor which influences my thinking.
But aren't you being unfair in some ways to what could be
Yes.
her political calling?
Could be. I could be unfair, maybe. So therefore, to that extent,
I don't think
She
he
has-
can be unfair to me ever. So I'm, just happy being with him, and I enjoy every minute of my life just being with him. People have written all kinds of things about me in the recent
Last few weeks.
last few weeks also. And I said, too bad, yeah. I enjoy being with my father, and I just want to be with him. He gives me so much, there's a very sthirta in him, which I would believe is so good for me also. I enjoy every minute with him.
But you've been with him in his yatras. You campaigned for him in Gandhinagar. Advaniji,
that way everyone goes.
Everyone goes.
So far as Gandhinagar campaigning is concerned, everyone goes. It's Kamla, Pratibha, Jayant, Geetika, all of them. Because I, at least for the last so many elections, I have been going to Gandhinagar only for the last 2-3 days, 4 days. Otherwise, I have been campaigning in the country. So it's they who look after the real campaign for the period of 20 days or 1 month.
but would you look towards your daughter and your family for political counsel at some points of dispute?
Yes, that is always there. For me, Pratibha and Kamla and others in the family have been sounding boards कि मैं ऐसा सोच रहा हूँ, क्या लगता है आपको? और generally the advice has been, because the advice has been naturally thinking about me, and there is an understanding also as to what I would like, what I would not like.